Get the f*** out. Okay, if there's an exercise that's more of a clown show circus exercise, I've never seen it. This is peak clown work. Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization. I am the creator of the RP Hypertrophy app and a professor of exercise and sports science at Lehman College in the Bronx in New York City. And I am going to be evaluating Mr. LeBron James's weight training today. I'm not qualified to evaluate his basketball training, but his weight training I will take a look at. Let's see what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong, how he get better, and if he's really as bad as the Hollywood stuff. I sure hope not. Let's cue the video. Men's health, not a good sign.
Hi guys, Mike Mancias here.
Mike Mancias, NASM, CES, and PES, athletic trainer and recovery specialist. Let's find out what he knows.
Athletic trainer for LeBron James for the past 16 years.
Okay, so is already a misnomer, I think, because athletic trainer is someone who helps you recover from injuries. They're not folks that are experts in designing programs to make you actively better than you would have otherwise been. That is something a strength and conditioning specialist does. Maybe I'm reading way too much into this. Let's find out what this really is.
Today we're at V-True Gym in Los Angeles, and I want to take you guys through a quick demonstration on...
I like that in one of the shots, he's like at eye level with LeBron's asshole. He's like, yo, what up? Yo, what up? Oh. Anyway, how's shit up there?
That includes mobility work, some cardiovascular conditioning, upper body strength training, lower body strength training, and most importantly, some core and recovery techniques.
Okay, we've got mobility work, which can be a thing if there are known mobility deficits diagnosed from sport participation. Potentially it's a thing, though proper weight training should resolve all of those. Cardiovascular work is usually not a wise idea in basketball. Usually you want your basketball playing and your basketball related drills that a sport coach would manage for you to be at least the vast majority of your cardiovascular work. Why in almost all sport do you want most of your cardio to come from practicing the sport and practicing derivative moves from the sport? Is because if you just do cardio with a modality that has nothing to do with sport, like run on a treadmill, it gives you the cardio to be better at basketball or boxing or MMA, but it doesn't give you any of the skills transfer. It doesn't give you any tactics. It doesn't actually make you better at any part of the sport except making your red blood cells, slightly higher in concentration, et cetera, and making your local musculature a little bit better with buffering metabolites. If you instead do much of your, or most, or maybe all of your cardio inside sport training, for example, in basketball, doing drills, running around in various ways, taking passes, that can really get your heart rate going. It's incredible cardio, but it's also exactly sport specific to the sport of basketball. And it lets you work on skills and tactics that you would in basketball. So it checks a bunch of boxes at the same time.
All right, guys, so the first thing we'll talk about is preparation. Now, preparation doesn't start once you get to the gym, but it starts the night before you get to the gym. And that includes a good night's sleep.
Sleep is important, right on. I agree.
A great dinner.
Great dinner is important. Okay. Just, the nutrition of the day before absolutely potentiates your workout. You sleep well, you eat well the day before, you're going to have an amazing workout the next day, chances are. If you sleep poorly and eat poorly the day before, your workout the next day is not a professional attempt at working out, which I might add, since LeBron is a professional basketball player, the professional basketball player, this should all be thought through. So it's great that his coach is doing that.
In the morning, we'll have a pre-workout shake on the way to the gym, about half hour before we start our workout.
Pre-workout shake sounds quite good. It can give you plenty of energy and make sure your workout goes well, plenty of hydration.
Once we get to the gym, we'll start with about 8 to 10 minutes of foam rolling.
Okay, so 8-10 minutes of foam rolling. What foam rolling does pretty well is when it hits a certain area, there's a neural modulation effect where your nervous system is typically perceiving that area to be generating some pain and some discomfort. And by foam rolling that area or even another area, you can take the nervous system and kind of desensitize it a little bit. There's nothing physical, mechanical working with foam rolling. People say, breaks down adhesions and really releases your fascia. That's almost certainly not true because we have very good understanding of the kinds of forces required to actually make tissue changes. And they're like 100 times higher than a force the strongest person in the world could exert with a foam roller. Like you could make the fascia change in its conformational structure if you rolled like one of those asphalt rollers over it. And well, if you want to put your leg under an asphalt roller, I suppose it'll really warm you up permanently. But you'll be really ready to be a pancake forever, which is nice. If LeBron needs it and it makes him feel better, dope. If this is more like sort of a prophylactic thing, prehab thing, which prehab is the stupidest thing in the world, then yeah, then it's not a good idea. Then it's just kitsch, just throwing things at the wall.
And now the next exercise that we'll incorporate after our foam rolling is called a Spider-Man exercise.
Spider-Man. Now, truth be told, Scott the video guy, how off color can we get here?
I mean, Max can always cut it.
The editor can always get it. Thanks, Max. I was inclined to believe that the Spider-Man is when, you know what I'm saying, this is going to get real as fuck. With the consenting partner, everyone's having fun. You pull out right when you're about to skeet, and you skeet into your own hand, and then he or she or they look up, and you go... All right, if you guys like that, we have an extended cut available for members only, so hit the join button to become a member.
Johnny here's going to demonstrate for us.
Oh, it's a crawl. How pathetic.
The proper technique for a Spider-Man. Great range of motion there. Great hip opener in preparation for activity.
It's not that great of a hip opener. You can open your hips much more if you just sink down into a slow sumo squat and you take your hands and you push your knees open. Squeeze your shoulder blades as your chest nears the floor. And he's like, I don't know who makes up these tips. Oh, there's a dog in this. There's a dog in the left-hand corner. He's kind of chilling. Yeah, insert random nonsense from Men's Health.
So after we're done with our hip opener and mobility routine, now we start with a total body cardiovascular warm-up.
Total body cardiovascular warm-up, okay?
One of the machines that I love to use in the gym is called the VersaClimber.
All these guys use a VersaClimber. VersaClimber is very challenging. It is very difficult to do. It'll warm you up really fast. So about 30 seconds to a minute on the VersaClimber at a decent pace is all the warming up that you could need. Let's see what he says about it.
We'll do 3 sets of 30 seconds each with about 15 to 20 seconds rest in between each set.
Not terrible. Not terrible. Just one of those would be fine, but fine.
All right, so Johnny's now going to demonstrate how to properly execute a VersaClimber technique.
Okay, so he hits the VersaClimber real fast right away. That is backwards. If you're going to do 3 sets, the first one you should be very lazy with, like literally moving really slow, just to get your body grooving, if you need this kind of warming up. The second set, you should do pretty brisk pace. The third set, you should get into it and get a little bit out of breath at the end. Then you'll be really warm, and it's safe the whole time. It's a graded warm-up. That's the whole thing about warming up. It's gradations. This guy just gets right into the VersaClimber really fast. I don't think he needs to warm up if he's ready to just go. All right, strength training, finally.
One of our favorite exercises to do for upper body core conditioning and strength.
Again, upper body core conditioning, which I really don't know what that means. That's 3 words thrown together, and I don't know how they link. And I'm a professor. I wonder what he knows that I don't. Let's find out.
It's called the inverted row.
The inverted row is one of the easiest exercises ever. What?
And that's the movement right there. All right, guys, so for this, the count rep is about 8 to 12, and we'll do about 3 sets of each.
Why is that guy only coming up to like 2 inches under the bar? Touch the bar, motherfucker. You look, real talk, as far as a movement of upper body pulling, this is a great movement, great for LeBron. He's got long ass arms. This will be nice and challenging for him. If you grade it and progress it, find out how to load it, maybe have him wear a heavier weight vest over time, this movement can be an awesome addition to being able to make him a stronger, more muscular basketball player. So the movement is good. The justifications are generally nonsense.
All right, guys, so for our next upper body and actually the total body movement here, one of our favorites, again, is called the landmine rotational press.
So landmine rotational press, it ends up being an exercise that looks cool as a demonstration. It's great for general family fun and fitness. Like if you're in a fitness class and you're 65 years old, it's cool to get the body moving around with some load. But if you push the limiting factors, like the only reason we're in the gym for a professional basketball players to push his ass, it's unlikely that this exercise is conducive to overloading both the pulling and the pushing complex at the same time. And also, it really turns into more of a grip exercise because the end of a barbell, believe it or not, is really hard to grip because it's already kind of oily. It's really, really thick, much thicker than a regular bar, and it independently rotates. So bad news.
With this, we start with a nice wide base, nice wide stance. Really engaging the glutes, engaging the core. You load up.
Engaging the glutes and core is what people say when they have nothing else to say. They just say, like, stay stable and don't round over like a question mark. It's not the same thing as engaging the glutes and the core. I think people say that just because people go, okay, core, that means I'm going to have lean abs. Glutes, that means I'm going to have a sweet ass. People are going to look at me and want to have sex with me. I think that's why people say it a lot. It has nothing to do with how anyone should ever be teaching this movement.
You know, part of LeBron's game is playing above the rim and transferring energy from the ground up into the rim, and this is exactly what that exercise is doing.
Okay. So you can't be too explosive with this exercise because you'll throw it and then it'll flip onto someone and kill them. If I want energy transfer from the ground and explosion, I would much rather see LeBron do a traditional CrossFit style thruster, which is basically a front squat that ends in a push press. You could also do a variety of weightlifting derivative movements, push presses, push jerks, squat press, all this other kind of stuff. You can do loaded jumps. You can do medicine ball throws. This is an exercise that, though looks like it sort of does triple extension, which is when you extend at your ankles, at your knees, and your hips, the jump movement, the most athletic movement that humans can do. It's only cosmetically so because it's not ballistic. An exercise which you really want power transfer from to fuel athleticism, you want it to be powerful, which means explosive. And ballistic means at the very end of the exercise, you're throwing it. He is not throwing shit. He's just finishing the movement and locking it out. It's one of those exercises, unfortunately, there's very many of these that people do and program and trainers like to talk about. It looks athletic, but it's not nearly as athletic as it looks. For someone of LeBron's ability, I would qualify this whole workout so far as a warm-up. A warm-up to something, I'm not sure what. But if we were to take that exercise and make it something LeBron could benefit from, we would either need to do it explosively, where he gently sinks into a lunge and then blows completely back out, jumping as high as he can, or he does it for reps to build hypertrophy and build resilience, but then he would have to wear a weight vest or hold dumbbells or something because body weight lunges are not nearly difficult enough for an athlete that can dunk a basketball. What do you get when PhD sports scientists collaborate with pro bodybuilders? The most effective muscle growth training app ever made. Get yours now.
All right, guys, so you've seen the exercises. Now let's talk about recovery.
Man, if I count, there were like 3 exercises. There's entire parts of the body totally missing. I don't know how that falls into a training week. So far, not so good. Let's talk about recovery, since we worked so hard.
So recovery for us entails 3 different things. It's nutrition.
Nutrition, check.
It's mobility.
Does not have anything to do with recovery mobility, but fine.
And it's a little bit of cryotherapy at the end of the day.
Cryotherapy. Okie dokie. Cryotherapy actively reduces the hypertrophic and probably strength yield of your program. Cryotherapy is something you do when you have like back-to-back basketball games and you don't want to be sore from one of the games into the other game. You do some cryotherapy immediately after that first game or really hard practice is concluded so that you never start to make the positive adaptations to your body to begin with. And thus the positive adaptations, they're awesome once you get them, but during the time that you're getting them, you're going to be stiff and sore. Like if you train your legs really hard, your legs get sore, a few days later they heal. If you need to be on point and use your legs a ton that day after, you don't want them sore. So if you do cryotherapy right after your leg workout, your legs will get much less sore or not sore at all. They won't grow, they won't adapt, they won't make you better. But right after the cryotherapy and the next day, you'll actually feel really, really fresh and you'll feel like, oh, I can do this again. So cryotherapy is excellent in the context of professional sports. If we're dealing with baseball players, hockey players, basketball players, that there's a couple of games in a row where they have to be on, you want to give them cryotherapy after every game. That's a very, very good idea. In a normal training environment, which is, I assume where he's going, where we just spent an entire session trying to elicit positive adaptations like gains in strength and hypertrophy, cryotherapy is actually going to work backwards, going to work against us. And the fact that this gentleman doesn't know that means he's at least 5 to 10 years out of date with scientific literature, which means, I guess we could all be better at our job. I could be better looking, but God decided, hey, you're going to look like a Ninja Turtle and an M1 Abrams tank mixed together, but you'll be 5'1", and no one will talk to you in school.
So for us, nutrition is easy. That's the Ladder plant-based protein powder.
Easy, plant-based, protein, powder, recovery, nutrition, check. Plant-based protein powder is totally fine though, especially if you're using a complete plant protein, which they often have to congeal together from a couple of sources, unless it's soy, and then it's actually quite good for you. So plant-based protein powder is cool. I would prefer to also have carbohydrates in there. Proteins plus carbs after training is better than protein alone for a variety of reasons: recovery, potentiation of anabolism, so on and so forth. So just the protein shake alone is a good start. It's not the best, but it's a good start. Okay, so B+ so far, B-.
And the second is mobility.
Again, mobility is the ability to have strength through a given range of motion. Mobility is flexibility plus strength. So I know exactly what that has to do with recovery, and I'll cue you guys in on this. When you have a high level of cumulative fatigue, you've been training for weeks really hard, part of your body's reaction, mostly mediated by the nervous system, is it actually makes you less flexible. Your tightness correlates very well to your degree of systemic fatigue. And so if you impose recovery modalities on that system, such as light training, that's easier than normal training, lots of sleep, lots of food, lots of relaxation, over several days and maybe even up to a week, your flexibility and thus mobility rapidly improves because that systemic fatigue is going down. But if you misinterpret high chronic fatigue levels and their effect on mobility as a mobility problem, and try to solve the mobility problem by doing mobility drills, the benefit sort of is that you'll get some light training in and that will help reduce the fatigue, but the actual working on the mobility part isn't helping anything because the mobility is the symptom. It's not the problem. It's like you get some virus that makes your lymph nodes blow up and you're like, well, hey, we got a medicine to make your lymph nodes come back down. Like, that's nice and all, it'll make me feel better, but what's it doing about the virus? And the guy's like, oh, virus? I'm not a real doctor. Is this guy a real trainer? That's what his CV says. Yeah.
That's me stretching him.
Oh shit, he gets to stretch LeBron. Dude, if I was stretching LeBron in that position, I'd be like, hey, have a good game. I'll see you after. He's like, what? Like, I mean, not sexually. Of course not. I mean, unless, no. But no. Look, it's whatever you need, man. Locker room's a lonely place. Post-exercise stretching, it can feel very nice, has no research-confirmed benefits for recovery, and has seemingly no theoretical rationale for recovery as well. So if you want to stretch, if it makes you feel good, it's totally cool to do a little bit of mild stretching after the workout. Is it something that you're like, oh man, like I don't feel like stretching, I'm in a rush, I need to go, should I stretch? I know it's important. It's not important. It's not important. Stretching is not important. If he was a very excellent trainer, he could just cut LeBron the real deal and be like, look, bro, this doesn't do shit. Let's get you the fuck out of here and go, do whatever pro basketball players do that's much more potentiating recovery, like play PlayStation and have gourmet food available to them at all hours. And, I don't know, hey, Scott the video guy, is LeBron monogamous?
I mean, he has a wife, right?
He has a wife, done the whole NBA? Shit. I've seen Real Housewives of basketball. Ain't nobody monogamous up in that motherfucker.
On the road, we fill up his hotel room bath with ice water.
On the road, that makes some sense, especially if he has big games coming up.
Or it can be something simple as a foot bath. Cold.
That is a lot of ice on Mr. LeBron. It's, playing basketball into your later years is a mother. Is he icing his dick? Cell phone, wife, he's like, shit. Hey, honey. No, I didn't use it like that. No, baby, they're nothing to me. They're no one. I didn't even know her name. All right, I'll see you at 12.
All right, so we went over a lot today, but just remember, some of the simplest routines and exercises are probably the ones that are most beneficial for you.
Yes, that's actually true. Some of the most simple routines and exercises are probably the most beneficial to you. And we saw just mostly kind of complex stuff justified in a bunch of different weird ways.
As long as you focus on your intensity, you focus on your movement.
There was no intensity demonstrated. Focus on your movement is a good idea.
And that's when you'll see some results.
Great. Cannon fodder for Men's Health. They're like, just say stuff so we can have outro music play. Ugh. More f***ery. Get the f*** out. Okay, if there's an exercise that's more of a clown show circus exercise, I've never seen it. This is peak clown work. This entire exercise is going to confer one advantage. It's a good practice to do this trick on social media. As far as general qualities that can be siphoned from this to go to basketball or any other thing, that's not a thing. General balance training does not transfer to various other sports, and LeBron's basketball-specific ability to balance is so frighteningly high, the only thing that can improve that is his challenge on the basketball court with motherfuckers pushing him around. That's it. I love that there's gangster rap on in the background. Like, motherfucker, you ain't hard doing this shit. It's the least hard shit anyone's ever done. Let's address a few things. How should athletes actually train? For example, basketball athletes in the gym, they should take the core movement patterns, pushing with your legs, pulling with your upper body, pushing with your upper body, pushing and pulling with your whole body. Break those down into very simple lifts. Deficit deadlifts, stiff-legged deadlifts, the weightlifting derivatives, pulls, mid-thigh pulls, hang cleans, push presses, squats, front squats, bench presses, dumbbell presses, Smith machine throws, medicine ball throws. You take all that real good stuff, pull-ups, rows, etc., and you take the gnarliest, compound, heavy versions of those in sets of 5 to 10 reps, and you get that athlete stronger in that rep range, and they're going to put on a ton of muscle. When you're doing that, you're also doing some sets of 3 to 6 work, even heavier, to get them stronger. And while you're doing that, you're doing some very limited work of very lightweight explosively to develop power, something like a medicine ball slam or something like that, Smith machine barbell throw. As you get closer to the season, you do less muscle growth work, more strength work, and a little bit more power work. When you get to their season or very close to it, you almost completely eliminate the hypertrophy work. You just keep the strength work, sets of 3 to 6, in the same compound, gnarly, heavy movements, and then you expand the amount of power work that they're doing, focusing on jumps and throws and plyos, so that they're peaked for that power performance, which repeat power is the only thing that really matters in basketball. After the end of their season, you give them a few weeks off, and you bring them in, and you start to work mostly on hypertrophy again. That's actual sports science. That's how you're supposed to train elite athletes. The reason that elite athletes are often not trained like this is that they're the people that choose who trains with them and how. They have their preferences, and they mostly just want to train their sport. And when they do resistance training, they mostly want it to be as easy as possible so they don't get sore and tired for their sport. Because most athletes don't know modern periodization. They are not sports scientists. They are not sport coaches. They don't know how to put together a good plan. But whatever they say, because they cost millions of dollars, other people will do, including their trainers. And if they find a trainer they work well with, which is usually a guy that just gets along with them well, tells them a little bullshit about how this exercise is helping this and that, make it seem like it's challenging, but in a way that doesn't beat them up, like balance training and boosted ball stuff, they'll keep that guy around because, like, yeah, my trainer's great. And we do training and we check that box and everything's fine. But training is not about checking a box. Training is about going hard. And most of the folks in basketball don't know how to go hard without f***ing up their game. You need a real sports scientist for that. There's just not that many of us around. And no, Mr. LeBron, I haven't returned your calls, and no, I won't be your personal coach. Just kidding. If you want to holler at your boy, I'm saying got a few slots open. Anyway, that workout gets 3 out of 10 for mostly useless. Why is LeBron so good at basketball? Genetics are motherfucker. Also, he's played basketball for 20 years. See you guys next time.